Welcome everybody. My name's Kevin Devlin. I'm the CEO of the Level Crossing Removal Authority, and we're tasked with a pretty exciting project, and that's to deliver 50 level crossings over the next 6 years. And we've made a huge start. A little over 2 years ago we started with 3 people in the authority, and now we've grown to over 450, and we've so far completed 10 level crossings, got another 13 under construction, and the rest in planning. So this multi-billion-dollar project is going to be a terrific boost for Melbourne, Melbourne's commuters, road and rail, improving safety, reducing congestion. And one of the first things when I first started with the authority in the very early days was to decide to take a deliberate focus on sustainability from day one, and set the expectations with our delivery partners and construction partners to ensure that that was front of mind and a huge part of what we were doing. Part of the level crossing removal project is actually potentially rebuilding up to 35 stations. So a lot of it is about placemaking as well as just improving infrastructure. And our view was that the sustainability opportunities that this multi-billion-dollar program had to influence and lead change in the industry and set a benchmark was huge. So we certainly from day one started our discussions with Ishka about how we could work together to deliver another benchmark outcome in sustainability for this project. And one of the key things we looked at doing was setting it the sustainability rating tool at 65, which at that point no project had ever achieved that rating, and we set it as our minimum standard. And that was again to really raise, not just contractually, but the mindset and culture of the partners that we had delivering this project, that sustainability was critical to us and ultimately critical to the success of the project. And so far it's been terrific to see the work on so far on the first 10, both in design and construction, the amount of effort that's gone into trying to strive to achieve that sustainability rating and sustainability outcomes. It's an ongoing journey, and we hope to leave a significant legacy for Melburnians through what we're delivering and doing it in a way that does more and uses less, and creates the legacy that the industry can improve on going forward.
Good afternoon everyone. I'm Paul O'Connell, the Environment Sustainability Manager for the Caulfield to Dandenong Level Crossing Removal Project. The Cranbourne-Pakenham line is the busiest rail line in Melbourne, and at the morning peak, boom gates are down for on average 82 minutes. The Caulfield to Dandenong project is removing the 9 level crossings and building 5 new stations along that line. Those stations are Carnegie, Murrumbeena, Hughesdale, Clayton and Noble Park. The project's also upgrading rail systems, including power and signalling along the 72-kilometre corridor from the city all the way out to Pakenham and Cranbourne. Additionally, we'll extend platforms to support 65 new high-capacity metro trains, which enable an additional 20,000 passengers per day, boosting the network's capacity by 42%. So sustainability is at the absolute heart of this project. Why is it important to achieve an ISCA rating? It's about optimising our long-term environmental, social and economic outcomes. The ISCA framework provides us with a measurable framework for comparing and measuring sustainability initiatives across a piece of infrastructure's lifetime. It's also about continuous improvement in the industry, identifying efficiencies and innovation. So we're aiming for an excellent rating, and it's a huge task, and we're up for the challenge, and we're really excited about it. We're also addressing the triple bottom line. So sustainability is truly embedded across the project. By removing the 9 level crossings, we'll improve safety and reduce congestion, and also boost capacity. As well as elevating the rail line, we're creating another 22.5 hectares of open space, equivalent to 11 MCGs worth of public space, and it's about creating new precincts in these areas. The project will not only create better infrastructure, but it'll also leave a positive environmental legacy, and that's really exciting to be part of. Some of our key sustainability initiatives include minimising energy and resources usage by using recycled or alternative materials in construction activities. And this includes using recycled content in some of our construction materials, such as concrete. Using biofuels where feasible to power site activities and to reduce our energy and emissions. We'll also be installing solar panels on our station canopies to reduce the reliance on power from the grid and reduce our carbon emissions from the stations themselves. In the linear park, we're planting hundreds of thousands of new plants with landscaping that includes drought-tolerant trees and plants, and the design will improve biodiversity by creating additional ecological corridors and connectivity for flora and fauna. In recognition of the local heritage of the local precincts, we're salvaging and adaptively reusing some local and state significant heritage items and incorporating them into the new design. The project's also undertaking a range of social sustainability initiatives, including Indigenous employment and partnership, and trainee and apprenticeships through our partnership with Chisholm's Institute New Employment Exchange and Training Centre. We're also supporting local traders through our Buy Local campaign. Sustainability is truly embedded within the project, and our employee engagement is really important for us to be able to deliver on our ISCA rating. Our engagement approach covers training and awareness, reward and recognition, and we've appointed sustainability champions across the project that accompany also our systems and processes. We have a monthly Sustainability Legends Award that recognise and rewards staff to help us achieve sustainability outcomes. Staff have come up with some great ideas, including material reuse initiatives and going the extra mile in investigating sustainability opportunities such as biodiesel usage. We also look for opportunities to continually embed sustainability opportunities into our work, especially in the design and engineering space.
Major construction activities and projects use lots of water in construction, things like dust suppression, materials conditioning and general site water use. So one of our key objectives for the project was to minimise potable water wherever possible. This objective supports our ISCA targets as well. So some of the initiatives that we've been doing include things like putting rainwater in at our site offices. That supports our toilet flushing demand. Putting rainwater also at our large project site office, which is a large warehouse facility, so a huge capture area for our warehouse roof. And so that water is also then going to be used in furphies on site, so little water carts that run around on site to help the guys there. Partnership with Sandown Racecourse is our primary water saving initiative for the project. This partnership allows us to harvest water from their dam that they have at their racecourse on site. So we've installed some new facilities there for them, and in turn we get to use their water for our construction activities. So when we first went to investigate what are we going to do about this water supply problem, we want to replace as much potable water as possible. How are we going to achieve that? We did a bit of a mapping exercise around where are the local dams, where are any treatment facilities also in the area, and how close are they to our alignment. So the key thing was that travel distances, because the further trucks have to travel, you're obviously then having an impact on fuel costs, transport costs and carbon emissions as well. So it's not necessarily the most sustainable outcome to truck your water in from great distances. So in narrowing down and having a look at the businesses in the area, we had a look at who would be close by. Is there an opportunity to then partner with them so that they actually get a benefit out of it as well, as usage charges can also become an issue for any initiative like this. This initiative is helping us to save over 30 million litres of water in our construction activities. One of the main advantages for our project is that this racecourse is actually quite close to our project alignment. And so what that means is it's a local water source, there's not huge travel distances to get to our project from that water source, and it makes it quite a sustainable outcome. Furthermore, after the project is finished, Sandown will actually get to continue using that facility for their own water needs. The key with all of the initiatives that we're trying to implement on this project is making sure that the outcomes are actually sustainable. So as part of the social legacy we have been able to leave with this project, in partnering with Sandown Racecourse, The project upgraded the stormwater harvesting system that they have there. So that included a new pump, standpipe, hard stand area, and access into that area for the trucks to actually enter. That is also useful for Sandown. So the installation of this facility enables Sandown to have greater access to their own dam. That future use is then protected for themselves, and they will be able to benefit from this project for many years to come. So it's one of the greatest outcomes from selecting this particular option for our water initiatives. So my 3 tips would be for any project would be 1, identify local opportunities and partnerships. 2, look for that triple bottom line of outcome. Consider your community legacy in that assessment process. And 3, have a backup or contingency plan. We reviewed many options for water supply for our project, and we contacted local industries and local businesses to help support that. What we found was that maximising that whole sustainability outcome was the challenge. So we had to find something close to the project that wouldn't have huge water usage charges, as well as something else that could be gained from the project, like we have managed with Sandown. So as I said, our tip number 3 is that within any initiative like this one, contingency plan is the most challenging aspect. The key learning that I'd like to pass on today is that, obviously when you're considering social sustainability aspects, and we were considering this for Sandown, we didn't want to be completely reliant on their water source. They too need that water. They use that water for their own irrigation needs, and they also use it for wetting down their track as well, and track conditioning. So what we wanted to do was make sure that we didn't compromise their ability to use their own water source by ensuring that our arrangement meant that should the scenario play out where there is a lot of hot days in a row and that they're concerned about their own irrigation demands, we have the ability to say, look, we'll reduce our water use. You obviously have priority as the owner of that dam. So this is the learning that I'd like to pass on, that we're looking at backup plans continually now. We're still investigating what our options may be. But as we said earlier, the most preferred option was Sandown due to its location and the usage arrangement we had with them. One of our project engineers or superintendents, he came across it himself. He used to use the location as a bit of a fishing spot back in the day, and he suggested that might be a great partnership that we should investigate further. So it's thanks to the team itself that actually we have something like this, an initiative like this in place, because we're always looking to make sure that our team are involved, and they've come through with some great ideas exactly like this one.
Sustainability is at the heart of Level Crossing Removal Authority's work. It's quite exciting being involved with a group of people, an organisation that actually has sustainability embedded within it. Rather than a bolt-on afterthought, it's very much demonstrated throughout the systems and the processes the authority's got. And you can see it from one end of the authority to the other, in terms of the different roles and responsibilities people have. One of the things that's quite exciting about the project, or the authority and program of works that the authority is delivering, is that there's a real desire and passion around continual improvement as well. So not only are we looking at what best practice is today, but we're also looking at and driving and striving to identify what best practice is perhaps going to be tomorrow and maybe even next year. And I think many people in the authority actually believe we're going to assist to actually inform best practice. So we can see that throughout. We've got social procurement activities going on. We've got some of the more traditional sustainability activities in the energy, carbon, water space. And from the authority's perspective, we're really trying to create a platform that allows our delivery partners and stakeholders to drive very specific outcomes, while giving them freedom to innovate and flexibility to do what each of those different participants does themselves. So from our perspective, a lot of the work feels like it might be done, although that's very much with a delivery focus, and the things we're looking at now are much more about the operational legacy that we can leave. So much of the work that the authority staff are doing, rather than the delivery people, it's very much focused on the legacy we can leave. So the benchmarks we can develop, the processes, the systems that will actually help the industry evolve. And looking at the different people involved in the authority, you can see a lot of interest, and people are empowered by the fact that this actually provides them an opportunity to feed back into the industry, not just the project they're working on, but the industry as a whole, which, as I say, is exciting. The relationship between ISCA and the Level Crossing Authority is really interesting because a lot of what the authority's been set up to do, even before I think people in the authority were necessarily thinking about how they deliver sustainability, a lot of what the authority's core remit is aligns beautifully with the principles that are embedded within the ISCA IS tool and their processes and their organisation. So actually it's quite a symbiotic relationship where not only are we able to leverage off the recognition and structure that comes with the ISCA organisation and the tools that they've put out into the industry, but we actually feel like we have a role in feeding back and assisting them to develop those tools. So it's very much a partnership where it's a two-way conversation about what we can get and the leverage we can get from their processes and systems, but also what we can help them do to develop this at an industry level, because we want to be seen as a group of people and an authority delivering public infrastructure that's not just best practice in Victoria, but it's best practice indeed nationally and internationally. And I think we're actually starting to see that now that some of the projects are coming through and we're getting sort of wrapping up delivery on some of the earlier projects. We're actually starting to see the outcomes of that, which I think is really exciting. It's not just an abstract sort of tool or process that someone in the team does. It's something that everybody thinks about and starts to build a culture rather than just processes and forms, which I guess people new to it might feel that it looks a little bit cold, but over time you start to understand that the diverse and broad nature of the processes work really well for an authority such as the Level Crossing Authority, which is extremely diverse in the stakeholders, the participants we have, and our contractor delivery partners. So it's a perfect tool for us, allowing us to tailor to some extent the program. We've taken quite a simple structure. We've taken on the ISCA tool, but we have mandated certain elements around energy performance, managing, mitigating climate risk impacts, water performance, as Caulfield to Dandenong's discussed, and allowing us to actually tailor not just processes but outcomes that align with our vision, our goals, our objectives. So that's important for us.